Hey guys, this is God of Politics. And before we get started with this video, please like this video and like all my other videos, obviously, and subscribe to the channel. I will continue to make these videos, but today's video is going to be talking about why I think that Arizona is going to be a pure toss-up for this election. At least at this point, it is going to be a pure toss-up. We'll start with looking at the results and what they have been historically. Going back to 2012, we see in 2012 Mitt Romney won by just over 10 points. He got a plus 1% gain over then Senator John McCain, even though John McCain, it was his home state. So we saw in 2012 Mitt Romney did do very well here in Arizona. He won by 10 points. And then in 2016, we see that Donald Trump won by 3.5 points. So in a year that Democrats did very poorly across the board, you see they trended blue. These states trended blue. Arizona, Texas, and Georgia. Those states trended towards the blue column, whereas most of the rest of the country, especially the swing states, trended to the red column. And that's something you have to watch out for. But especially talking about Arizona in this election, we saw that in 2016, well, obviously, in 2012, it was a 10.1 percentage margin for Romney, and in 2016, it was a 3.5% margin. So that is a total of a 6.6% swing in just the span of 4 years. And you could also argue that Gary Johnson, who was the governor of New Mexico, obviously did get 4.1% of the vote, and Jill Stein got 1.3% of the vote, and Evan McMullin got some percent of the vote. So you could argue that Donald Trump would have done a bit better here if it weren't for Gary Johnson and Evan McMullin getting some of the vote. But you could argue the same thing, obviously, how much of Gary Johnson's vote would have gone to Donald Trump. Most of Jill Stein's vote, I can assume, would have gone to Hillary Clinton. It was just a lot of Bernie bros that didn't like Hillary Clinton. So it maybe could have given Trump maybe 1 to 2 more percentage points in the result. But then you have to look at 2018. 2018 was obviously a wave year for Democrats, but you see Kyrsten Sinema, we saw obviously Donald Trump wins by 3.5 percentage points. Could have been more if it weren't for the third party. In the Senate the next year, Kyrsten Sinema wins by 2.4%, but that's also with a Green Party candidate. Not many people pay attention to this, but Angela Green, the Green Party candidate, a left-leaning candidate, got 2.4% of the vote. You could assume at least maybe 1.8% of the vote maybe could have gone to Kyrsten Sinema. That gets her at least another percentage point on Martha McSally. So basically, she almost won by 4 percentage points, and that's a huge swing because obviously back in 2012, Romney wins by 10. Donald Trump wins by 3.5, but you could argue it's about 5 actually. And then Kyrsten Sinema wins by a large margin here. And another thing, the Democrats control 5 of the House seats. The Republicans control 4 of the House seats. Obviously, one of them was a flip, and Kirkpatrick beat Leah Marquez Peterson in a huge upset. Well, not a huge upset, a huge margin of almost 10 points here, and that's in the southeastern portion of the state. But another thing you have to watch out for is Maricopa County. Maricopa County is the county here that in the 2018 Senate election went by 4.2 percentage points to Kyrsten Sinema. We see in 2016 that county went by 2.5% to Donald Trump, and in 2012 the county went by over 12 points. So this county went by over more of a margin to Romney than the whole state did. And then we're seeing it's getting a lot closer here, and it's a lot closer here, and even the Democrats won it in 2018. And the reason being is it is the suburban vote, obviously, but more specifically, it's the college-educated white vote that is trending towards the Democratic column. And we are seeing this across the board. We're seeing it in the state of Georgia as well, and in the state of Texas. And it also is the Latino vote, and that is also why we've been talking about Joe Biden could be picking. It's rumored that he's going to pick Catherine Cortez Masto as his vice presidential nominee. She obviously is the senator, the junior senator from the state of Nevada. She is the first ever Latino woman elected to the U.S. Senate, and that would make up for one of the weaknesses that Joe Biden does have, and that is Latino voters. Obviously, Bernie Sanders tried to make inroads with the Latino voters after 2016, where Hillary Clinton did very well with him. Hillary Clinton didn't have a problem with black voters or Latino voters. Joe Biden doesn't have a problem with black voters, but the problem Hillary Clinton had was white working class voters. She had the black vote, she had the Latino vote, she didn't have white working class voters. Joe Biden has the black vote. He's now gotten into the white working class vote, taken those votes away from Bernie, and that'll be important in the Rust Belt. But what he doesn't have is the Latino vote. and that is going to be important in states like Nevada, where Cortez Masto's from, and it's going to be important in states like Arizona, because if Joe Biden, obviously he did win Arizona, but if he cannot consolidate the Latino vote, which has the lowest turnout rate of any race in America, if he cannot consolidate that support and turn them out, he's not going to be able to put states in play like Arizona, and he'll lose states like Nevada. So the argument for him choosing Catherine Cortez Masto, if he is, along with Kamala Harris again, and Stacey Abrams, is that Joe Biden believes he can win the Rust Belt on his own, and therefore, if he can consolidate the power in the Rust Belt while also holding on to the Sun Belt, maybe even gaining Arizona as a result of picking Catherine Cortez Masto, then he'll have a chance of winning. And if we're looking at the polls, I know polls are polls, but you have to compare these state to state. Arizona, Joe Biden is up 3.8%, and obviously it includes the Univision poll here, where Biden was up by 8 points, and obviously that's a Democratic skewed poll because of the fact that they do a lot of them in Spanish, but Biden is up by 3.8%. He's been up in every single poll except for one, which was back in December here, but other than that, he's been up in every single poll here, so he's up by 3.8 on aggregate. If we're looking at Michigan, Biden is just up by 0.6% more, which is 4.4% here. If we're looking at the state of Pennsylvania, Joe Biden is up by the same margin that he is up in Arizona, and in Wisconsin, they're actually tied. And if we're looking at Florida as well, we are going to see that Florida is a state where Donald Trump is up by 1.3%. And so you're looking at Arizona, and of the swing states, Joe Biden actually does second best in the state of Arizona. And this is a state that has not gone to the blue column since 1996. So if we're looking at overall, if we're looking at the map, right, you can assume Florida, if we're doing it by the polls, Florida goes by a lean margin. We'll just give New Hampshire by a lean margin as well. And then you say, okay, Democrats get Michigan, and they can pull off Pennsylvania here. They can pull off Pennsylvania by tilt margin, but it is a tie in the polls in Wisconsin. You give that to Donald Trump. So Donald Trump's winning in the state of Wisconsin. Then you see Republicans 259, Democrats 268. Republicans win Arizona, it's over there, 270. But if Democrats are able to get a victory here, they're at 279 to 259, despite the fact that they lost Wisconsin. Obviously, if you take Michigan away from them, they lost it. Obviously, you take Pennsylvania away from them, they've lost it. But it would be an important thing as well, because assuming he doesn't pick a candidate from the Sun Belt, if he does not pick Catherine Cortez Masto, Arizona will probably go red, and Nevada could go red as well. That could be another scenario. Democrats would then have to win Wisconsin, and then they would barely get over the top. But that means that he would have to win. So he would have to pick someone from the Midwest, or take a gamble, pick somebody from Florida, pick Stacey Abrams, or pick Kamala Harris. There's many options that Joe Biden has, but this is the situation we're looking at, where we have huge trends in Arizona that we have not seen in many other states this quickly. Obviously, if we're looking at Arizona, Texas, and Georgia, those are the three states that I talked about, the three swing states you could call them, that have been trending towards the blue column when most other swing states had been trending red in 2016. And that's the important thing to look at. Arizona is the one that is going to flip blue first. If they ever do flip, Arizona will flip first, Georgia will probably flip second, and Texas will probably flip last, but I have questions on whether Texas will actually flip in the near future. But just to look at the overall picture of this, Arizona is kind of something that's gone under the radar in the media. Obviously, Democrats did do very well here. I mean, Kirsten Sinema ran as basically a centrist, but we have Mark Kelly here, who was up by about, like, on aggregate 5 points in the polls, and that's more than what Biden is up by against Trump. So you could see a realistic scenario as well, where Mark Kelly beats Martha McSally, who also lost her House race. If we look down here, Martha McSally lost a House race for the 2nd District back in 2012 by 0.2%. She lost her race in 2018, and there's a likely scenario that she loses in 2020. She's never really won an election. And that's something that we're going to have to look at too, because Martha McSally is not really a winning candidate for them. And people point to the fact that mainly to buck the trends, they say, okay, Gary Johnson got 4% of the vote. You give that all to Trump. You give McMullen's vote to Trump, and you give Jill Stein's vote to Hillary Clinton. It's just a two-way race. You assume that Donald Trump wins by about 8. If you're being very generous to the Republicans, Donald Trump wins by 8. But then you have 2018, where Democrats won the Senate race by more than they won the governorship race in Wisconsin. And obviously the 2018 Senate race in Arizona is an open seat, and Wisconsin was a flip from a governor. it's something that we have to watch out for. And I see at this point, obviously polls are polls. I would consider this state a pure toss-up. I said it in my battleground map. I would consider this state a pure toss-up. And I would consider Wisconsin to be tilt. So looking at this overall, the Democrats, in my opinion, are getting very close to the 270 mark. It's just going to come down to either Wisconsin or Arizona at this point. Democrats win Wisconsin, they win Arizona, they win it all. If Republicans win Arizona, Wisconsin, they're probably going to win it all as well. So that's going to be the most important state to look out for. Other than the state of Wisconsin, it is going to be Arizona, which Arizona, I think, is a pure toss at this point. Wisconsin, I think, will go red. So Democrats should put a lot of resources into it. Maybe that is by picking Catherine Cortez Masto, but we will see in the coming weeks. But yeah, thank you all for watching this video. Please like and subscribe as always, and I'll see you guys later.